Hi everybody, this is Shelly, and I am going to do a really quick flip through of my Hobonichi for October. I filmed the whole video this morning, and my camera, or my phone shut off, I don't know why, and I had like 20 minutes or something like that, and the thing shut off and it didn't save anything, so I don't know what happened. So, my cover is holding up really, really well. I don't carry this with me anywhere, so... but it is holding up pretty well. You can see how full it's getting already. Show you the end. And I have 5 completed months in here. And I'm just going to get right into October. Let's see. Alright, so here's my monthly spread. There's nothing on here. Like literally, I went to the gym 3 times this month, I think. Maybe one extra time, I'm not sure. But yeah, and I didn't put anything else in here. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't decorate it at all. I did decorate November a little bit, but I'm just going to flip through here really quick and show you what October was. So, let's see. The 1st of October was a Wednesday, and I don't have school on Wednesday, so I stayed home. For most of the day. I guess I met Jake for lunch at Panda Express because I put my little fortune in here, and I did go to the gym that day. And then this right here is what is it? It's a rub-on from a Smashbook rub-on. I got this in a little set of like nautical themed rub-ons from Michael's, and I believe it was only like $1.97 or something like that, but that's the only one I've used so far, but it did really well on these pages. Let's see. Sorry. Thursday, I had school. It rained all day, and I was lucky that while I was in between classes, it was just sprinkling. So I don't even think I took my umbrella with me that day, and I was glad that it just sprinkled in between classes. I think I had a hoodie, and I was able just to pull my hood up, and I was fine. This is just a picture I took of all of the things that I had. These are all like the assignments and things that I had to get done that weekend. So I wrote everything down so I could just check them off as I got them done because I had so many things to do. And then Jake actually ended up leaving work early. He's been working till 6:30, but he only worked until 5:30 that night because somebody smelled natural gas or something like that, and so they made everybody leave. So he brought home dinner, and the only thing we ended up watching that night was How to Get Away with Murder, so I put this in here. And since then, he's decided that he doesn't want to watch it, and so he only watched that first episode. And so I've just been watching them by myself. But I really, really like this show. It's really thought-provoking, and it's just one of those that it's fun to try to figure out what's going on. The next day was a Friday, and I didn't have school. And then this is, again, just since I didn't have a whole lot of stuff going on, I just wrote everything. I put this little card in here, and then I wrote everything down. I think this is like from an Amy Tangerine, a little kit of, what do you call them? Just like accent. They're not chipboard, just little cardstock accents. So I stayed home. I worked on all my homework, and that was the day that the high school had their, not groundbreaking, but their ribbon cutting ceremony. And I don't know how many of you know that I live in Joplin. And so we had the tornado a couple of years ago, and one of the schools that it destroyed was our high school. And so they have been working on the high school, and they were able to start school there this year. The high school students actually started a week earlier because they were still finishing some things up, and they are actually still doing work on the school, but on different sections where they're not having class right now. So they had their ribbon cutting ceremony, and the Guinness Book of World Records was actually there because they were setting the record for the longest ribbon at a ribbon cutting ceremony. And I don't know the exact length, but it was 6 miles and something long. And the reason they chose that particular length was because that was how long the path of the tornado was when it went through town. So that's why they chose that. But Vice President Joe Biden was there and did a little thing at the gave a speech. And then the Secretary of Education was there also. So I didn't go to it, but they broadcast it live, and so I watched it on my computer while they were having that. And then the next day was homecoming for the college, so we went to homecoming and did all the, they have a parade and everything in the morning, so we took the kids to that. And Jake takes the kids every year, and normally I don't go, but since I'm a college student this year, I thought it would be fun to go to homecoming, so I did go to that. And let's see, I spent most of the rest of the day after we came back from that reading, and I took this picture, and this is typically, I'm gonna zoom in here and see if I can. This is what my books look like for class, because we have to fill out a worksheet about themes and quotes and settings and symbols and all that kind of stuff. So this is typically what my books look like. They're all just page flagged up. So that is one of the perks of being a stationery hoarder, is that I always have lots of page flags to put in my books. The next day was Sunday, and we went to church. We went and ate lunch. Let's see. I took a nap, but for some reason I couldn't sleep, and so I got up and I worked on my planner a little bit, and I made coffee. And every once in a while I will buy a can of whipped cream and let the kids use that in their hot chocolate, and so I decided to put some in my coffee that day, so it was really, really good. And then that was the season finale of The Strain, and so we watched The Strain that night. And I think we watched Doctor Who and Haven from that week too. And then on Monday, I was going to try to do observation hours for my education class. I have to do 24 hours this semester, and I have to do 8 in elementary, 8 in middle school, and 8 at the high school. And so I had planned out, we have to turn them in 3 sections. So we've already turned in 10, and then we had 8 more due, and then the rest of them are due, I believe, in another couple of weeks. So I had it all scheduled for the next couple of weeks, how I was going to make sure and get all my observations done. They have to be turned in by the 10th. And I ended up taking a sub job that day, so I subbed at Dylan's school that day. So I didn't get to do my observation hours. But, let's see, what else did I do? I finished my worksheet on the book that I finished reading, The Walk Two Moons. And then we watched the newest episode of Scorpions, which this is a show that it's kind of like one of those that I like it, but it's one of those that I'll give another couple of weeks to, and then we'll just see if it continues. There's a chance that this is kind of one of those shows that I have a feeling may end up getting canceled, but for now we're sticking with it. The next day was Tuesday, and we had school. I had taken a picture of my planner pages that I guess that was completed for the prior week, so I took a picture of that, posted it on Instagram. And then we watched the season premiere of Supernatural. Now, we don't have CW in HD, and our TV is big enough that it's torture to watch a show like this not in HD. So normally we wait until they're available online, and then we do them that way. But my daughter is really super into Supernatural right now, and so she was afraid that she was going to get spoilers if we didn't watch it the night that it was on, so we went ahead and watched it. And then we also watched Sons of Anarchy. And then I believe I subbed at Colton School on this day. And it was kind of nice because I worked, the kids that are in 6th grade this year, I worked with in 5th grade last year, and so it was fun to go in and see all the kids from last year, and they were all really excited to see me, which is always a good thing when you're a sub. I finished reading a book that I needed to do a review on, and then we watched Kingdom, which is a new show on, it's an audience channel. I don't know if every cable provider has that, but if you like mixed martial arts, then this show is really good. And I'm kind of fascinated with MMA right now. I've been reading a lot of books that the main characters are into MMA, so this was interesting. And it also has Nick Jonas in it, which is interesting to see him in a role like this after, you know, the whole Jonas Brothers thing. On the 9th, I had school. I skipped the gym. That was what this was for. I skipped the gym because it has been, this week it stormed a lot, and when I go to the gym after school, Dylan rides the bus home, and then he's usually here for about 45 minutes by himself, but it was getting ready to storm really bad, and I didn't want him to be home by himself when it stormed, so I went ahead and came home. And then I started watching season 2 of Witches of East End. When the season 1 was on, we happened to catch it during a marathon right before the season finale, and so we taped all of them, and then Jake and I just kind of sat for a couple of days and watched them all. Well, he decided he didn't care about seeing this new season, so I saved them all up. By this time the season's over, and so I saved them all up so I could just watch them all really fast, so I was able to watch them all just within a couple of days. This day I ended up going, this is a visitor badge from the high school, and I went and did observation hours there, and I kind of went to, I think I sat with 3 of Bailey's classes, and then I was able to get a bunch of my high school hours done, which was nice. And then after I left the high school, I met Jake, and we went and ate at Panda Express, which is like my favorite place to eat right now. It has been for a couple of months. And then we rented Transformers, and we watched that, which was a super long movie, by the way. I liked it, but it was super, super long. On Saturday, I think I just stayed home all day, and I just wore my pajamas all day, stayed home. I worked on homework. I watched Witches of East End. I think I finished it this day. So I finished Witches of East End in like 3 days. I watched all the episodes in 3 days. And then we watched The Giver. And then after the kids went to bed, we watched Lucy, which I did not care for. The Giver was good. I had read the book, and there were parts of the book that I liked better, but for the most part, I like how they did the movie, and the ending of the movie was way better than the book ending. Even though it was kind of the same, they were able to do some things in here that where the book just kind of leaves you hanging. They were able to, you know, kind of smooth it out so it wasn't such a harsh ending. Sunday, we went to church. We came home for lunch. I worked on planners. That's when I put together my NaNoWriMo notebook. I think that was kind of like right. I had decided to do NaNoWriMo just a couple of days before, and so I put this together so I could work on plot and characters and things like that. I could carry that with me, and I started using it in my the faux Midori that I made, but then I ended up deciding to put together the Filofax, and so I just put this notebook in my purse and started carrying it around just to jot things down in. And I think it stormed that night. I took this picture on the way to church that night, and then we came home and we watched the season premiere of Walking Dead, which was probably one of the best season premieres of any show I've ever seen. It was really, really good. The next day I subbed for Bailey's algebra class, so I just did a little drawing here of the kind of problems that they were working on when I subbed. And it was kind of nice because they had a co-teacher for this class, and so I only actually had to teach a couple of the hours, and then he taught the rest of them, which was really nice. I realized this day that I had forgotten to take a government quiz the night before, and I was like freaking out. I ended up using Bailey's computer to email my professor to see what I could do about it. I had a 97 at this point, and if I ended up not being able to take the quiz and I got a 0 on it, it would have dropped my grade to an 83. We ended up working everything out, and I was able to go ahead and take the quiz, which was really nice because I was really, really worried about it. We watched The Lone Ranger, and I finished a book that I needed to get done for a book review. This day we were on fall break this week, and were we? Yeah, Tuesday was fall break, so we were only actually out for Tuesday, but I guess my hours for my class, my observation hours weren't due until Thursday. So they were the 16th, not the 10th. So I had 2 days to get like 7 more hours done, or 6 more hours, something like that. It was like crazy. So I had planned to go to 2 different elementary schools and do my 2 hours in each one, and then go to the high school in the afternoon and finish my hours at the high school. Well, I was able to do the first elementary school, then I drove to the second one and realized I got there right at lunchtime and I was not going to be able to get my 2 hours done before I had to be at the high school. So I left, and I was already having a hard time because at this point I didn't know that my professor was going to reset the quiz for me. I thought that I was going to have to drop down to like a low B in the class, and I was like devastated. And when I am having a rough time, I tend to shop, which is not a good thing. But when I shop for purses. So I had a couple hours to kill before I had to be at the high school, so I went and I was looking around Macy's at purses, and I found this bag, which I've been wanting for a long time. It's a Ralph Lauren Layton tote, but it's always, you know, it might be 25% off or whatever here and there. It's regularly $168. It was marked down 70% to $50.40, and I had a $15 coupon that I was able to use on it, so I got this great big tote for like $36, which is like an awesome deal. So I was pretty happy about that. And then I went and spent an hour at Starbucks, and I was reading because I had another book due the next week. So I started reading for that. And then I went on to the high school and was able to get my observations finished. So I'm done with my observations at the high school at this point. So I went the next day and was able to finish my observations at the other elementary school. So I only have 1 more elementary school to do, and then I have 6 hours at the middle school. So Jake and I met for lunch again, and then we watched Sons of Anarchy. So I put this in here. I am not liking this season, and I may have talked about that on my video last month. We've kind of just stuck with it because it's the last season, and I am just really not liking the show anymore. And these hour-and-a-half long episodes every week are just torture for me to sit through. But I love Chibs. And so he's pretty much the only reason I'm watching at this point, and I like his storyline that they're giving him a love interest kind of this season. But I'm really ready for this series to be over. I went the next day. I had school. And so I had an exam, and then we had a review for a government exam, and then I had to turn in my 8 hours of observation. So I had decided throughout the course of the last couple of weeks, because I have not been having time to go to the gym. I have just been so busy with everything that I've had to do for school and observations and subbing, and it's really hard to find time to get there. So I called and I canceled my membership to the gym. I still have a couple of weeks left because I had to give a 30-day notice. So I still have a couple of weeks left, but I still have not been going. There's a gym on campus, and the way my schedule is looking for spring, I'm going to have a couple of hours of break every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I pay for the gym at school, and it's a nice gym. It's nicer than the powerhouse that I've been going to. So I'm going to start using the gym at the school. So I did that, and then this was the day I talked to my professor, and he was able to reset the quiz for me, so I was super happy about that. So I ended up getting a 49 out of 50 on that, so I was able to maintain my A in that class, which I was super happy. And midterm grades came out this day, and I got all A's, which was really nice. On Friday, I subbed at Colton's school. I subbed for a reading class, which was really fun. And then this picture is a picture of the mobile section, or the mobile website. We had to, for my technology and education class, we had to set up a Weebly account, which is like a teacher's web page. So we had to set it up like we were already in our own classroom and what the things that we would put on it. So I did that. So while I was working on that, the boys and Jake watched Godzilla. Bailey had spent the night with a friend that night. And then we watched the next episode of Kingdom. So Saturday, I had just snapped a couple of pictures during the day, so I stuck those in here. I was working on homework and working in my planner. I started reading It, which is a book that I've been wanting to read for years, and I always wanted to read it in October. I always thought it would be a really good around Halloween time read, because everyone tells me how scary it is. One of my friends was like, oh, I read that a couple of years, I read that 10 years ago, and I was so scared I couldn't sleep for a week. Well, I'm done with it now, and I did not think it was scary. I don't know if it's my age now, or books just don't scare me. I don't know. I didn't think it was scary. So I'm curious to see what other people think about it. But I really enjoyed it. I think Stephen King is a really good writer. And I like the way that he told the story. Jake brought home dinner. Jake and the boys went to a ball game that afternoon. And they were pretty much gone all day, so I was able to do a lot of reading and homework and stuff that day. And then I just loved this picture, so I had to put that in here. It's like a little Starbucks mug, but it's Dalek from Doctor Who. And then when Jake got home that night, we watched the new Doctor Who, and we watched a couple of episodes of Haven. So we're a little behind still on it, but I think we have one episode left to watch. Sunday, I started not feeling well on Saturday, and so I ended up staying home from church on Sunday, and I spent most of the day reading, and Bailey stayed home with me because she wasn't feeling good. This is just a picture I took of the sandwich I made for lunch. We watched Walking Dead, pretty much. I watched How to Get Away with Murder. That's pretty much all I did that day. Monday, I stayed home all day again because I still wasn't feeling well. I set up my pink file effects for NaNoWriMo. I read more of my book. We started watching Sleepy Hollow, finally, the new season. I love this show. We're still way behind. I think we've only watched 2 episodes so far, but I love this show. Let's see. Tuesday I had school. I had this is the day I had my government exam. So I always go to the school early on the days I have exams, and I sit and study. So I write everything out on note cards, and then I just sit and study the note cards until I know everything, or think I know everything. He gives us a fairly comprehensive study guide, so it's everything that's going to be on the test. So I did that, and I ended up having to come home and lock the door for Colton because he was running late for the bus, and so I had to leave the library, come home and lock the door, and then go back to finish studying. And it took me 13 minutes to take the exam. And so I texted Jake as soon as I was done. I'm like, either I did really, really good or I did really, really bad. But I felt like I did well. Jake took the kids to the Meet the Lions night at the college, which is they can go and meet all the basketball players. The women's and men's basketball team get autographs. They do it every year this year around Halloween, and they paint pumpkins and do all kinds of fun stuff. So while they were there, I read because I had a book due on Thursday, so I needed to get it read and my stuff done for that. So I'm still feeling pretty bad on Wednesday. I finished my book, which was The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, and I finished the worksheet for that. I took a nap, drank a lot of coffee. Jake brought home pizza, and we watched Supernatural, and then we watched a movie. And then on Thursday, I went to class. I was not feeling well still, and it was like raining that day. And I forgot to take my umbrella, of course, so I got all wet at school. I ended up staying for my first 2 classes, but I emailed my professor for the last class and told her that I was not going to be there because I wasn't feeling well. So I came home and put my pajamas on, had a cup of coffee, and then my sister came over and brought me a pan of cinnamon rolls and this little gift basket from Bath and Body Works, which has like a body spray, lotion, and the shower gel, which is pumpkin latte and marshmallow, and man alive, this stuff smells so good. And then the candle is like a marshmallow candle, and it smells really, really good. But I don't like the taste of pumpkin flavored things, but I love the smell of pumpkin stuff. It's really weird. But yeah, so I put pajamas on this night and ended up not getting dressed, not wearing regular clothes until Tuesday. The boys were out of school the next day. So yeah, so we watched the new Sons of Anarchy, and then we went to bed. Here's where I had my cinnamon rolls from Sarah. And then that night we watched American Horror Story Freak Show. I got a pencil case, and did that pencil case, or I did my pencil case tag that day. Let's see what else. I worked on my NaNoWriMo stuff for part of the day here. Let's see. Saturday, the boys were out of school on Friday for parent-teacher conferences. And then Saturday, I stayed home all day again, not feeling well, just did homework. I wanted chicken noodle soup, so I had to make it myself. But then I made these 2 really awesome loaves of bread. We watched Constantine, and then we started watching The Flash, which is, let's see if you can see the gold. I actually used paint on this page, which was really fun for the little logo. I'm still working on my book. I read a lot this day. I stayed home again from church again because I still wasn't feeling good. I spent most of the day reading, and then I started watching Vampire Diaries. And I think I watched some originals that day too. And then we watched Talking Dead. Monday, the kids were off again for teacher in service days. They had meetings all day, so the kids didn't have school. So I put a picture on my planner, and then we didn't really do anything that day. I worked on planners, and I read. We watched Scorpions, and then we watched the Jim Carrey Saturday Night Live. The next day, I had taken this picture, so I stuck that in there. I had school that day. Let's see. Oh, I ended up getting 104 on my government exam, which was super awesome. It's a 100-point exam, and then he gave us, I think there was only 8 extra credit questions on this one. So as a total, we could get 108 points if we got everything right. I got 104, so I thought that was pretty good. And then I got my box from Productive Luddite, and I did that video today for this day. And then we watched Supernatural and Sons of Anarchy, and I put on here there's only 5 more episodes that I have to sit through for Sons of Anarchy. So on this day I stayed home again, and let's see, it was Wednesday. I think I just read all day pretty much. I finished it, and I took a break while I was reading it to read this book for my children's lit class. I had a fantasy exam due the next day, and I usually wait until the day before the exam to read the book. That way it's kind of fresh because it's essays. We have to write essays on them. So I took it took me an hour and a half to read this book, but it was one of the saddest books I've ever read. Like, I've read a lot of books where I kind of, tear up, need a Kleenex, kind of like The Fault in Our Stars, books like that. But this one was like so much more beyond that. I was like sobbing, crying. I'm glad I was home by myself because it would have been super embarrassing. But I didn't know what the book was about before I started reading it. And it's A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. And I was just expecting it to be fantasy. I did not expect what the book was actually about. And it was very personal to me and very, very heart-wrenching. But it was a very, very good book. So I would definitely recommend it if you like books. I don't know. I can't say if you like books like this because it's too hard to describe what it's about without. Yeah, it's just read what it's about before you read it so you'll know what it's about. But it would be a very good book to give to a middle school kid or a teenager who's dealing with someone in their life who has cancer. Yeah, so that's all I'm going to say about that. Thursday was the day, I had decided to change my major, and so I went into the department and changed my major on Thursday. I changed from elementary education with an emphasis in English to secondary education. And so I am now an English education major. So I will teach high school English or language arts or communication arts or some form of English in high school when I graduate. So I had to get another advisor. I have 2 advisors, one for education, one for English department. So I went early that morning, and I took my NaNoWriMo stuff with me, and I spent the morning in the library working on like character stuff and plot stuff. So I feel pretty good about the whole NaNoWriMo thing. I'm way farther along than I was last year. Last year I just sat down and started writing. This year I actually have a plan and a direction to go, I guess you could say. So we met Jake at the mall for dinner, and we had to get some stuff for the boys for costumes. And then I watched How to Get Away with Murder while he was working on some stuff on the computer when we got home. And then it's Halloween, and let's see, I didn't have school. I had to get all the things for Dylan's class party, which was not a Halloween party, it was an Oktoberfest party, which that was kind of hard to do. But yeah, so I did that, went for Dylan's class, and then I came home and I worked on some NaNoWriMo stuff again. I took a picture. This is my Halloween selfie, not dressed up because I don't dress up for Halloween generally. So yeah, I took a picture, and then we did all of our usual Halloween stuff. We always take the kids to the mall. We've done that ever since Bailey's first Halloween. And then the last 4 or 5 years we've gone out to the college. They always do stuff. It was not very fun this year. They had to do it inside because it was cold. And so it was not nearly as fun as usual. And then we met my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and went out to Jake's parents' house with all the kids. We always take them out there. So this is their group picture. We always go out there, but we usually make it home in time to go for Jake to take the kids trick-or-treating in the neighborhood, which Dylan was the only one that wanted to do it this year. Well, we ended up not coming home in time to be able to do that, and Dylan was not very happy about that. But we started watching it when we came home. We taped it on, I don't remember, it was on some channel last week, so we taped it so we could watch it after I got done reading the book. And I remember being terrified of this movie when I was younger. It was when I was in high school, and I think it came out in '91. And all of the kids watched it, and nobody thought it was scary. So I don't know. I guess just the level of special effects and everything that they have now that the kids are used to, nobody thought it was scary, and it was super, super cheesy. It was probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen. So yeah, that was that. So I don't normally decorate for the month, but, you know, like the little cover page, but I have these huge stickers that were in those books from the Target Dollar Spot, and they're really too big to use on anything, so I went ahead and decorated this month. And then I've already done more in this for November. That's all I'm going to show you, but all 3 of the kids' birthdays and Jake's birthday are in November, so I just did that. So that's my October, and hopefully this video isn't too long. I changed locations, so maybe the lighting is a little bit better. I can't see into the camera as well, so I'm hoping that it's focused for you. So anyways, that was my November or October, and I will see you back here in November. Thanks for watching. Bye.